Kelly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank each of you for being here. And I want to start off, the men and women who do the work of the IC are amazing men and women, and they protect this nation on a daily basis. However, I will comment on some of the things that have happened. There's an erosion of trust in the American public that you are protecting us and protecting all of our constitutional and civil rights that are created through the Constitution, whether that is leaks at high levels to media sources or to put a political viewpoint, which is not necessarily anybody at this table, whether that is resistance to oversight and using is currently under investigation. Just understanding we are not a normal congressperson, we are selected for this committee. We have had trust in place by us, by both sides of the aisle, to be able to keep and maintain the same secrets that you do. Whether it's not providing witnesses when we ask for them and saying, well, they may not want to be disclosed, we have subpoena power. If they don't want to disclose, we can subpoena them. It is important for us to be able to do our job as partners with you in that oversight. And that is what we want to do, not to throw daggers and rocks at you, but what we want to do is we are the people who are most charged with selling FISA renewal to the Congress and to the American people. And without proper oversight, we can't do that. As we used to say in the Army, 1-0 crap does away with 10 years of attaboys, okay? I mean, we cannot do that. So when one leak happens, if the public doesn't feel like we're addressing that appropriately, we have to do that. So I would just ask you, Director Haynes, what are we doing for you to help us rebuild the trust in the public that they have lost over years through, many times it predates you, but it doesn't matter when it happened. We've got to turn the perception back that we trust the FBI, we trust the CIA, we trust the NSA.
Absolutely. Thank you, Congressman. I think having the trust of the American people with respect to the intelligence community is absolutely fundamental, and it's critical to us doing our job for all of the reasons that you indicated, but also so that when we put out a warning, frankly, that the American people trust it enough to act on it or to be subject to it. And so what we're doing is, across the board, trying to ensure that we have appropriate oversight over the extraordinary powers that we have. In the context of 702, I think you've heard a little bit from Director Wray, but honestly, all of us have a lot to say on this subject. Really, the investment that we're making in training, in policies and procedures that help to ensure that we are doing things in accordance with the law, that we are looking at designs of technology to ensure that it is actually quite hard to do anything else. We are looking at the oversight process every 2 months.
Let me, because I want to get a little more. I mean, I used the raids recently, and raids, search warrants, whatever, all the documents through multiple presidents and vice presidents that were improperly disclosed. We've got to do a better job of not telling the American public all those things, but they have to know when the SIPC asks for those things and when we ask for those things and you tell us we don't have a need to know or a right to know, I can assure you that erodes public trust. That does not help. We are not partisan folks on this committee when we are asking that. We are asking that for oversight, so I just ask that you comply with those. And the second thing, I'm going to shift a little bit to the Southern Hemisphere, because I know in your Senate here, you talk quite a lot about the border and those kind of things. We also talked about transnational terrorist organization and drug cartels and those things. That is not a kinetic fight. But I just ask you guys to look at what we as an intelligence community and a Title X community, what can we do training assist-wise to move to the southern border of Mexico south? What can we do to improve our standing in those nations through training and assist or through intelligence provided to them? What can we do to strengthen our relationship so we don't have so much pressure on our border?
I'll start, and I'm sure others will want to weigh in. I mean, one thing that I would call out, you rightly said Mexico and then further south. So one of the things that we've been doing that I think we can double down on, and we're trying to do that, is work with the Northern Triangle countries, where you got MS-13, 18th Street Gang, et cetera. But to illustrate how thorny and complicated this problem is, we have what we call transnational anti-gang task forces in all three of El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala. And in El Salvador recently, for example, working with them, we had a massive MS-13 takedown, which was great. On the one hand, you got all these people locked up in El Salvador before they got anywhere near the border. The problem is there's so many of them that the ones that didn't get caught immediately started fleeing, looking for someplace else to go, and guess where they wanted to come? They're heading straight for our border. So it illustrates why we can't just kind of play whack-a-mole. We have to try to have a comprehensive solution to this problem.
And Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Great. I'm going to ask unanimous consent that we go to 4 minutes, not 3. We would, but 4 in order for us to be able to get done to make it to our 1 o'clock.